Hello. My hair looks bad. This is our last day in Japan. We go home tomorrow. But we have a few things that we haven't talked to you about yet. After we were done with the Pokemon Center Summer Festival in Kyoto, we went to Osaka, Goldenrod City. You know, it really did feel like a Goldenrod City kind of place. There's like malls everywhere, underground malls, above ground malls, like streets that are just basically malls.
Yeah.
Multiple enormous train stations with like so many lines going everywhere that it's confusing.
There are also multiple game corners. Or
Yeah.
gotcha.
a lot of like gotcha places, a lot of we saw a few like pachinko places. We just kind of saw them, we didn't go in.
Yeah. Well, Team Rocket works out of there.
Exactly.
We don't want to associate with that.
And we did see a very suspicious like claw machine aisle that was all Pokemon. I'm not sure where they got all those Pokemon from. They might be poached. On our first full Osaka day, our main attraction was to go to the aquarium. It was a very nice aquarium. I think what kind of dampened my experience a little bit was just that there were so many people. It was really packed when we were there, even though we went like first thing in the morning, like when it opened.
Yeah, it's very different from any other aquarium I've ever been to as well. Because the other aquariums we've been to, I feel like you can go in. There is a general path that everyone kind of takes, but you can take your time. You can kind of choose the order in which you experience something in. Whereas this aquarium was very much like a Pokemon game where you have a very set path.
It was very guided.
So you have a very, very set path that you go on. And like, in part because there were so many people, like, yes, you kind of need to, like, move on because, like, it's, like, no longer your turn because there's, like, a whole lineup behind you who also want to see the otters, which is fair. But, yeah, like, you did have a set time where you came in. You're a certain amount of way through it before the next group of people are allowed in. It does make it kind of feel like there is a little bit of a time constraint where otherwise in another aquarium where they don't quite have that type of scheduling, you can kind of just walk around and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It was still a very good aquarium, but this is where I would kind of prefer the Vancouver Aquarium, the one I'm most familiar with.
We are kind of spoiled by the Vancouver Aquarium, to be honest.
The Vancouver Aquarium was great.
But what I liked about this one that was kind of unique is that it's a very vertical aquarium. You enter from the ground floor, but the very first thing you do is take a giant escalator to the top. And then basically the entire like path that it guides you to is you circling all the exhibits, but like slowly going downward. You get to see essentially the same tanks.
Yeah.
At different levels. So like there's a display where you get to see birds and like surface creatures. There's even some mammals there. You walk around, you see other exhibits, and eventually you come back around to the same one, but now you're underwater and you can see different animals. You can see the fish that are swimming around, and in the dolphins, for example, in one you can see the dolphins jumping up and like getting food from the trainers there, and further along, lower down, you get to see the dolphins actually swimming around, and it gives you this nice different like perspective.
Yeah.
So the centerpiece of the aquarium, though, was this really large tank for the like open waters of the Pacific with two very, very, very large whale sharks, and also some very, very, very large like manta rays and other kinds of rays as well.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
It was a good aquarium.
Yeah. We also went on a large Ferris wheel that's basically in the same area as the aquarium. I think it would have been a better experience to go at night, but nice views of the city.
No, it was a very nice Ferris wheel.
Yeah, no, it was good. What else did we do that day? We
did aquarium, and then we did deluxe.
Yes, it was that same day. Yes, so we went to Osaka has 2 Pokemon centers, and we went to both of them. One was like just a 10-minute walk from our hotel. We went there, I think the day that we arrived, just to kind of look around. I don't think we bought anything that day.
No. Because, it kind of had a lot of the same stuff that we had already seen at other Pokemon centers.
But we did go to the Pokemon Center Osaka DX. Quite a large store, I think comparable to the DX one in Tokyo. It's also the location of the Pokemon Cafe, although we did not get to actually eat there.
No.
But what we did get when we went to Pokemon Center DX was new friends.
This is Mochi.
The Sleeping Chikorita. On the day that we went to the Fossil Museum, that was the first time I saw it, and I immediately I was like, this is so adorable. I was resisting getting it. But then at one of the other Pokemon centers, Indigo had seen this.
I have seen Muna at a few Pokemon centers, but I kind of just kept resisting because I do kind of have not like a million plushies or anything, but I have a lot of plushies in our small apartment. So I don't really need another one. But this is Muna and she's adorable.
Yeah. So we were both trying to resist, but we talked about it and eventually we decided that we would bring them.
This was the last one. I couldn't leave her behind. She's surrounded by Lechonk. They were gonna bully her.
This was not the last one.
Oh yeah, I'm mostly over my cold, in case anyone was wondering.
Day 2 in Osaka. Honestly, we had only one real plan, and so we just kind of filled the rest of the day with things that we kind of decided on the spot. We went first to Osaka Castle and Osaka Castle Park. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it was an extremely hot day, extremely humid, so it was hard to enjoy our time outdoors. Like
35 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, it was 35 with humidity like over 70%. Mm-hmm. It was uncomfortable to be outside. So like the castle is very pretty. The park is very pretty, but we didn't really spend a ton of time there. Mm-hmm. We wanted to make sure that we saw it. Yes. We wanted to make sure that we went there.
It's very nice.
It was very nice. But we kind of were just like in and out a little bit.
Yeah.
So then we went to lunch. We went all the way to Universal City, but instead of going to Universal Studios, the theme park, we went there for the Takoyaki Park.
Takoyaki is one of my favorite foods, so we had to go there. I don't really care about the Universal theme park.
The Takoyaki Park is 6 different takoyaki specialized restaurants, all in one food court kind of thing. You're encouraged to try a variety of different preparations of takoyaki.
Takoyaki vending machine. Well, sort of.
Where does the money? For here or to go? For here. Okay, now I can pick the one I want. We ended up only going to 2 different stores, but we got like their variety packs. Basically 8 different kinds of takoyaki from like traditional to salt and pepper and lemon to like Parmesan cheese.
Yeah. I did not like that one.
I did like that one, actually.
Oh, no.
It was great. It was just a really good like fun experience to try all of the different kinds.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing though is that apparently in the past it used to have more of a like museum kind of thing, and that would have been interesting to see. But it was still worth it to go there just to eat the variety of takoyaki. Then we decided to go to Nara. Nara is like next door to Osaka, basically. I'm sure there's plenty of interesting things to do in Nara, but the one thing that we went to do there was to visit Nara Park, where there are like hundreds of wild deer. The deer just live in the park, and like they are technically wild, but they are extremely used to human presence. There are like vendors in the park that sell deer crackers so you can feed the deer. They didn't even look like overweight or anything, so like, I don't know what those crackers are made of, but they seem to like it and they look healthy enough. Like, so in general, it did seem like the deer were just kind of like, you offer them food and they're like, yeah, all right, sure, I'll have some. But a few individuals were more aggressive about like, ooh.
Yeah.
I got to feel like a Disney princess. I was surrounded by them at one point because they all wanted food.
Yeah. Oh, there's a third one. That's not food. Hello. The umbrella is not food. She's feeding 3 at the same time, and then there's another one that comes to me and like bites our umbrella to get my attention. I fed one and it was not satisfied with the one cracker that I gave it, and it wanted more and it bit my shirt. Like gently, you know, they weren't like trying to tear anything, but yeah, it was like hey.
Actually, there was kind of a funny sign. I didn't take a photo of it, unfortunately, but it was just like, you know, these are still wild deer, so like, don't be silly. And it shows like a woman being like an old woman being like hit by bucked by a deer. Yeah. And it's like this can happen because they are wild animals.
Yeah. There were some museums there as well, but really we just went to see the deer.
Yeah.
We had originally planned to go to Nara on Monday, but that was the day of the typhoon, and we ended up being stuck indoors. So I'm glad that we were able to go there. Like, we didn't manage to go there for the festival that we were hoping to see. Actually, 2 festivals that we were hoping to see. But we still got to go there and got to see the main attraction of the park.
Stantler.
Yeah. I think that was it. The last thing we did was have okonomiyaki for dinner.
Delicious. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's like a savory pancake. I had an Osaka like specific version called a modanyaki, which has noodles on it as well. It was delicious. It was a lot of food, and it was cheap.
Yeah.
At least like cheap for the amount of food that it was. It was a fantastic meal. And then it was today, and it was even hotter.
37 degrees. I hate it.
Like, we didn't have any specific plans anymore besides, you know, make it to the bullet train.
Yeah.
So...
Because we had to go from Osaka back to Tokyo so that we can get our flight tomorrow.
So we are currently in our hotel room in Shinagawa. Oh, right. I misspoke in the last video. This is Shinagawa. We didn't record in Osaka. Oops. And because we are walking everywhere, my legs are killing me. Like, even when we take a slow day and, you know, maybe I last for a few hours and then I'm just like, my legs are just screaming at me. They're like, stop.
I'm fine.
Yeah, but you're used to working on your feet. Yeah. I work on my ass. For our last dinner in Japan, we went to Kura for some classic conveyor belt sushi. This is the same chain that we tried to go to when Flora was still with us, but this location was much quieter, though it still took us over half an hour to get a table. The sushi was delicious, and they actually had more than one Pokemon tie-in, not only the Tatsugiri set, but also a game played by returning your dirty dishes. We didn't realize right away that's how it worked, but we did get one prize.
Oh, it's a stamp. I don't think this comes out, but it's a stamp. Cool. It's a Pikachu stamp.
Yeah.
Japan really loves stamps, huh? The next morning, we had a few hours to kill between checkout and when we had to head to the airport, so we went exploring and found Shinagawa Shrine. The shade from the trees was really welcome, and the shrine was really beautiful. It was up on a hill and had a lookout with a nice view of the area. Oh, and on the way up to the lookout, there were also these 3 devil statues? Oni statues? I'm not sure. They reminded me of the horned statues in Zelda. But yeah, our trip is coming to an end.
Sad, but also I miss our cats.
Yeah, I miss the Canadian weather, and so even though it is also currently very hot in Canada, it is not this hot.
37 degrees! What the heck? Should
Yeah.
be illegal.
And yeah, we miss our cats, so it's I think it's a good time for
Yeah.
the trip to be coming to a close.
2 weeks is good.
If we come back here again, if we come to Japan again, we will definitely not be coming at this time of year. But the one place that I feel like I need to spend more time in is Kyoto.
Yeah.
I did like the main thing that I wanted to do, which is go to Gion. But because we lost a day basically in Kyoto, yeah, it felt like we didn't see or do as much as Kyoto has to offer. I mean, obviously we did not see everything that anywhere has to offer because we're only spending like a few days in each location. But like Osaka felt like it's a big city.
Yeah.
Like you can do big city things. Tokyo also felt like it's a big city, but because it is much bigger, there is a lot more to do in and around Tokyo. Kyoto is the one that's more unique, or at least that felt more unique as a tourist. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
It's been a fun trip. I hope you've enjoyed our recaps and seeing all the cool things that we did, both the Pokemon related ones and the not Pokemon related ones. And now we sleep.
Bye.
Bye.
See you in the next chapter.
Thanks. I almost forgot. Oh, and just so that we wouldn't lose the habit, our first meal back in Canada was sushi.